Welcome back to the Healthy with Heartland podcast. My name's Justin. I guess you could say I'm the host of this show. It's summertime sizzling. We're having a great time. Also here with your favorite creative directors and co-hosts, Simon and Shannon. How are we feeling today?
Feeling good.
It's another Healthy Day with Heartland.
Sure is. Glad to be back.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. And ma'am.
We got a good one today. I'm excited for what we're going to talk about.
Yes, we're going to be talking about ground products, safety, what they're made of, the difference, all kinds of good stuff around ground products. But before we get into the topic today, let's send it over to Shannon for some announcements.
All right. Welcome back, Heartland family. I'll keep it real short and sweet for you. If you are ready to reorder, we can help you restock from home without the hassle. If you've been paying attention, you know that last month we had Nick's ice cream as our special. It was super loved and it was delicious. So we brought it back again for this month. So you can enjoy 4 pints of Nick's ice cream absolutely free with your reorder if you place it by the end of the month. So definitely do so. And then if you are receiving your reorder, your delivery, snap a quick photo of your freezer and your delivery, or those delivery drivers, the delivery experts as we like to call them, and post that on Facebook, tag Heartland Connect, and you could be entered into our $500 raffle giveaway, which we draw at the end of every month. And with that, guys, let's get into today's podcast.
You know, real quick, on that referral topic, like we've been giving away a lot of free orders.
Sure are. Yeah,
Like
we sure have. Definitely.
I feel like everybody should get at least one free order. So if you haven't gotten a free order, ask your rep how.
Yep.
We're here to help. We got a lot of tools to help you get free orders. The pop-up events, like we throw these parties. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yep.
Like we bring everything. The moon bounce. Everybody goes crazy. And then you only need 4 referrals as a 50% customer to get a free 6-month order. 4. That's it.
Yep.
So if you're not a 50% max discount customer, ask your rep about that too.
Yep. Got exciting things going on. Like Justin mentioned, the pop-ups, those have been a huge success. You know, you throw one pop-up, you get a free order. That's a pretty awesome reward. And the pop-up's super fun. We bring all the food, games, crafts, things for the kids. It's fun opportunity for everyone to get together, enjoy some good food and some good fun, and definitely sign up for that. If you are interested in registering, you can definitely go to heartlandfoods.com/host-pop-up if you'd like to reserve a date, because we are filling up fast. So do so as soon as possible.
That's right. Get it while it's hot.
Definitely. And at any point in time, you're welcome to visit our Heartland portal, where you can, of course, refer a friend. We'll send personalized emails on your behalf. You can actually track your referrals, see how many you have towards your free order. So you can visit that at portal.heartlandfoods.com, where you can ask your wellness consultant how to get signed up with that as well.
The one question we always get with referrals, I think that is people don't know how to tell their friends about it. What kind of advice would you give them, Justin? Like, what should they do?
I think oftentimes people get too into the weeds with the service and how it works and everything. I think it's like too much too fast. The people who do the best with the referral program, they don't try to sell their friends the service. They just say, hey, this is what we did. We had Zach come out to our house. He cooked us a meal. We got to try some products. And then we built a custom plan and decided if we thought it was good for us. So I would sell the appointment. Just tell them, look, you got nothing to lose. Like, you're already spending this money on food anyways. Right. It's an alternative option. It's going to make your life easier. You get a 3-year price lock. I mean, that's the hottest reason to do it right now. Yep. And that's as far as I would go. Just say, look, have them out, see what you think. It's a no pressure thing. Like, trust me, we got enough business. Like, we don't need it. Like, we're not going to try to force this upon anybody who doesn't think it's the greatest thing in the world. Right. So, you know, just tell them it's a no pressure thing. And
Absolutely.
You get a free meal at the very least.
Yep. And too, like, you can invite them to our foodie group. We have, customers posting all the time their experiences with, their delivery, their meals that they're cooking, how much their kids love the Heartland vegetables and the Heartland food. So I think that's an awesome resource too, invite them in and have them kind of, experience what being part of the foodie community is like.
Absolutely. Yeah. But you said something really important, because that's what I always say too, when people are kind of on the fence. It's like the worst thing that's going to happen is you got to try some farm source products. That's the worst thing. If you
nobody
find out
usually
that it's not
complains
real,
about that.
Nobody. It's really good food, so that's the worst that's going to happen. At the end of it, but at the best that's going to happen is you're going to save time, you're going to save energy, your family's going to be safer, and that's kind of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, we're still bringing in cost per meals under $10. That's going to be hard to find in this inflationary environment. Right. I mean, every order that I'm customizing right now is averaging out somewhere between $4 and $9 a meal price point. So, and you get groceries included with that. So you're probably even a little lower if you adjust that for the grocery package you get. But no two families eat the same. So that's the challenge with when if you're telling someone about the service and you're telling them your experience, they might think it doesn't fit for them because you're telling them your experience. Their family might have a different amount of people. They might cook a different amount of days at home. So there's a huge range of what these plans could look like. So that's why I wouldn't get too into the micro about your plan. Tell them everything about how it works, because you might make them feel like it wouldn't work for them. So just tell them, have the appointment. They'll customize something that fits exactly right for your family, and you can go from there.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
As we were saying, one of the benefits of Heartland is that food safety. That's why we bring this information to you. We don't want to scare you folks. We just want to inform you so you can make the best decision possible for you and your family.
Right. And because we're talking about ground products specifically, in 2021, Americans purchased more than $13 billion in ground products.
That's a lot of ground.
So it's a huge category. I mean, that's ground beef, ground turkey, ground pork, and ground chicken.
I mean, think about it. What can you make with ground products?
Lots of stuff.
Everything, right?
Yep. You do meatloafs, you do meatballs, you could do burgers. So many things you could do with it. Tacos, casseroles. We could go on for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I think it's so popular.
It's so versatile, right?
It's very, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing too is that because we do love ground beef and we eat it so much, it does come with a slight price. And we're going to talk a little bit today about the Consumer Reports article that recently came out at the end of June, talking about, the importance of understanding food safety and, illness related to bacteria in food. We think that it's something important to talk about.
I think everybody thinks it's important. Have you ever gotten sick from something you ate?
I have not personally, but it's one of the leading causes for food poisoning in this country. And since 2018, there's been over 11 outbreaks, specifically for foodborne illness within, ground meats, which is a lot since 2018. It's only been 5 years?
Yeah.
And it's something that I know is like super regulated and on the radar of the USDA and the CDC and things like that. So I know it's super important, but it affects all of us.
Okay. What about you, Justin? Have you ever had an experience eating out where you've gotten food poisoning from?
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's rough.
And that's a challenging thing about when you get sick. It's like, it's hard to trace where it came from. It might have been something you ate an hour ago or yesterday. You never really know, or it's just unrelated. You're like, I don't know. Did I catch a bug? So you never really know. That's what's so challenging about it. You can assume like, oh, I got sick from this meal or whatever, but how do you prove that?
Right. And I mean, I guess just in thinking about it, I feel like you would prefer that if you went out and that happened, as opposed to being at home and cooking your meals yourself and getting sick from that kind of deal too, right? You don't want to get sick in general.
Right.
Yeah. Right. You wouldn't want to get sick from anything you eat, but if you were going to get sick, maybe, I feel like I'd have a better understanding, and I feel like, okay, I just won't go back to that place.
Like it was more acceptable
but if it's at
to
home,
you. I feel like I'd be upset no matter what.
I can get sick from something that's probably not bad. It's just that I'm not used to eating it,
Yeah.
That's true.
If you eat clean all the time and you go out and have a not so clean meal, like you're going to feel that.
Oh yeah. yeah.
That's true.
And then I specifically mean in terms of like, getting E. coli, because
throwing up, like sick,
right,
for sure.
Because like my family, like we had, an instance where we went, and this is back when we were eating Taco Bell and all that kind of trash, right? We went to Taco Bell and literally, I don't know what.
This was growing up?
This was growing up, yeah. Okay. This is back in the 90s.
Okay.
So I'm going to age myself here, right? But we show up to a Taco Bell and it was like we all had tacos and pretty much the same kind of stuff. And again, these aren't the greatest tacos. It's Taco Bell. But either way, it gets a fixin'. As we're eating through these things, right, literally one person kind of gets like a little kind of stomach thing, and we're in a van, like one of those old school kind of American vans that are just like, we're all kind of like in there, and there's cousins, there's aunts, it's me and my family. Everyone
like a cargo van?
Is this a bus or a van?
It's a van.
Like a 12 passenger?
We're Puerto Rican, so we put a lot of them in there, right? We were packed in there. This is in the 90s where you didn't have to wear seatbelts and stuff, right?
Gracious.
But anyway, so we're in there, we're eating, and one person, just starts to get the bubble guts, as I like to call it, right?
Oh my goodness.
So as they're eating through this kind of stuff, like everyone's like, oh yeah, oh no, you're okay, blah, blah, blah. This person blows chunks.
Oh
Boom.
no.
And this is within like a short time frame?
Like you're still eating it? Like you're not even finished eating?
Well, they're finished eating.
Okay.
Other people are still eating.
Right.
As this person goes, and I don't know if it was because of the meat at this point, but this person gets sick off of it. No. The next person, because of, I guess you're right next to them. Some people don't like the smell. Some people don't like the whatever.
Oh, my
right?
goodness.
Boom, they go. Literally, next thing you know, the entire van, everyone, and this is a rented van, by the way.
Oh, my goodness.
This is a rented van. Everyone just all the way down. It's literally one of the craziest things you would ever see. So we had to, needless to say, my dad had to turn that van back in and had to pay the extra fee because there was
cleaning.
There was, some of that. So you don't want to have those kind of experiences when you go out. You know what I mean? And
absolutely not
at home either,
or ever.
Right?
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, no, it was really bad. And I mean, again, we don't know if everyone was sick off of what they were eating, but the one person was definitely sick because they stayed sick. Everyone else was just kind of like an innocent bystander that probably got hit with some kind of Anyhow,
goodness,
just to transition through that.
Wow.
Right.
I feel like almost everybody's been there.
Right. It's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
seafood
too, I feel like is one of the popular ones, like sushi. Like I haven't personally, but I know like my dad's gotten really sick from eating like raw, because bacteria, raw fish.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, anything. Well, first of all, bacteria doesn't permeate like meat, right? That's why all these recalls are with ground products.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's getting sick off that because you're introducing oxygen into the mix.
Right.
Okay.
And they say, I feel like they say that like a lot of the ground meats, and this is where you can kind of come in and talk about Heartland ground meats, because a lot of these processors are using different parts of different not different animals, but all the same animal, but different.
It's different animals.
Multiple.
Some of it's different animals, and a lot of it's like you meaning like different. It's not like one beef is ground down into.
Well, it's not like one farm.
It's multiple
beef.
animals.
It's like multiple different farms, multiple different people have brought their cuts there. They're all grinding it down.
I don't know
If it's commodity, like hardcore commodity, like
from
McDonald's. I mean, I can't remember where I saw it, but it's estimated that 1 pound of ground beef is about 1,000 different cows in it.
Yeah.
So and then you talk about regulating it and trying to find out, like trace it back to where it came from, or like which one was contaminated. Like how would you know?
You wouldn't. And if you're mixing all these, it could be that one cow, because cows have a lot of different bacteria in their gut. Some cows have, and then when you're talking about from a feedlot, then you're just introducing like a plethora of different kind of bacteria and just
and it's fresh, so oxygen.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's why our flash frozen product, like I don't eat out of the fresh supply chain.
Right.
It's just dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they were saying, as in the article, as far as like ground meat, like if you have some of that bacteria on like a steak, usually it's on the top, so you can cook it.
Yeah, it doesn't
it's on the
permeate the meat.
surface.
So as long as you sear it, it's irrelevant how much you cook it.
Right. And then they say you take like a burger, right, which you might enjoy rare or medium rare, and that mixture of that, that meat that might have that bacteria that didn't hit the heat, that didn't get cooked, that's, how it can happen. Or like an undercooked poultry meatball. That was the example that they used. But yeah, that's how it happens.
Yep. And I think because they made it almost, it's like illegal essentially, because I'm trying to find the name. It was like the Shiga Toxin.
Yeah.
From E. coli, right? That Shiga Toxin is essentially it's giving people like bloody diarrhea, and I mean it's potentially fatal in terms of the kidneys.
5 to 10% of people go into kidney failure from that specific strain because it's toxic. It produces those toxins. It's the same one in the 1990s that came out that was linked to the Jack in the Box hamburgers that I think over 600 people were killed and 4 children died from that outbreak.
Yikes.
And it's again the same strain. And I think when Consumer Reports did this test, they tested 351 different like packages of ground meat, and they did it from raw ground beef purchased at supermarkets, big box stores, and natural food stores in 26 metropolitan areas across the country. So they're testing it from all different areas. And what they found was in one of the tests, they found that strain. And so they called the USDA right away, and they were telling them, and I guess they recalled over 28,000 pounds of beef in Seattle just because of this like test that they were doing. Had they not done it, who knows what would happen.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you can't trace it back, right? Because once it's all mixed, how do you, you don't know where it came from. Like
the process, it says it starts at the processing plant. The meat from multiple animals is ground together. So even if the meat from just one animal is contaminated, it can potentially be distributed into thousands of pounds of ground meat. So then you talk about the importance of, cleanliness and regulation and all that stuff. It's just, wow.
And but how much can you expect the USDA and all these other, organizations to be able to actually regulate it? Yep. At the end of the day, it comes down to, feedlot farms and how they're raising animals. And then, like Justin said, the oxygen, storing these meats at proper temperature. Yeah. Or you could do like we do and just bypass all that and buy from a place that is doing it like flash frozen, where it's going to kill most of that, right? As it goes through that process, it's killing the bacteria anyway, right? Any of the anaerobic or aerobic. The
other thing is just how it's made to begin with.
Yeah.
Like if you're like the way when you go to the grocery store and you see 90-10, 80-20, like these ratios, they're giving you the percentage of trimmings and fillings, right? That's not the low percentage. That's like the 80 or the 90, right? When they break down a primal, roasts, steaks, fajita strips, stew tenders, everything that can be sold as cuts, the rest is going into a bucket to be the base of the grind, sitting there, exposed to oxygen, bacteria. Even at a safe temperature in one of those meat cutting rooms, bacteria still grows. It's just slower. That's what safe temperature means, is slower bacteria growth. Doesn't mean no bacteria growth.
Right.
Wow.
Right? So they're building up that base for the 80, the 90, and then they take saturated fat fillers from like all these other animals, combine it together, and now you got 80-20, 90-10. It doesn't say on there ground chuck roast or chuck brisket short rib like ours, because ours are made from center cuts, like right off the animal. We're gonna grind the whole chuck, and there's your ground beef. Or you want a little more fat and flavor, we're not gonna take saturated fat and give you an 80-20. We're gonna take brisket and short rib, grind it into the chuck, and now you have a little bit more fat and flavor, but it's made from center cuts, no health risk, flash frozen, no bacteria growth. That's the difference.
And that's what you can attribute that to the flavor too. Because if you're adding all this extra added fat from different animals and all that kind of stuff, it's going to have a different flavor of the burger. That steak burger that we have, which is, I think, one of the most popular items that we have on our menu and our list of products that we do have.
Definitely popular.
Is like, one of the greatest tasting, one of the most consistent kind of products that we do have. And when you compare that to all the recalls and all that kind of stuff, it's great to say we've never had one of those, right?
Right, yeah.
So, it's just like when you cook it in a pan, right? And like every time we do a cooking demo in someone's house, when we cook that chuck brisket short rib burger, has all that fat and flavor, you would think that it would cook down and you'd pour out all this fat, but it's not added fat. It stays in the burger. It's delicious. You take it out of the pan, there's nothing to drain.
I feel like have you ever had that experience where people actually look at the pan and say that and be like, hey,
all the time.
And you're like, that's a selling point right there. Most people are like, how come? And then the next part after that is in the taste, right? The flavor. They're like, oh, so nothing came out of it. So it may not, it may be dry or something. Maybe there's nothing. And then you taste it and you're like, oh, ding, the little light bulb goes off and you're
texture,
like, oh, wow.
All of it.
The flavor, the texture, it's amazing. And like that 6-ounce burger, like you said, it doesn't shrink. That's a nice sized burger.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yep.
So good.
Absolutely. 6 or the 4. You can do 2 4s. That's what I do.
You can do the quarter pounders.
Double on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then on the other side, on poultry products, like ground chicken, like our standard ground chicken, it's just ground breast meat.
Yep.
So it's literally a chicken breast ground up. So 100% lean, because we're not adding anything to it.
Yep.
If you want something with more fat and flavor, we can take some dark meat and from the chicken, grind it back in. And that's how we would get a 93.7, Same thing with ground turkey.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's real meat. Yeah.
And it's real important that it is real meat.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're dealing with all these, recalls. You're dealing with this, and again, look how much we're spending on ground beef. $13 billion.
Right.
That's a lot of ground beef.
Super profitable when only a small percentage of it's beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or meat, whatever.
Yeah.
The rest
whatever
is
it is.
Fillers and
Yeah. No, it's true. And I don't know. It's crazy. Just the quote from that I was reading you earlier. It was PhD Dr. James Rogers. He was just saying that he's the director of food safety research, but he said that they have a zero tolerance policy for finding like bacteria such as E. coli and salmonella, because they are so hard to treat and they can kill people, right? Like they can kill. Yeah. So it's important.
And I think when you talk about E. coli too, we produce E. coli in our guts.
Yes.
But it's not the same E. coli, not the same strand of E. coli that is growing from.
Well, the issue is that, so yes, we all do have E. coli. It's one of the bacteria found in our guts. But when it's misplaced in the gut, that's its environment.
Right.
If it's found elsewhere, like, in the throat, or say there's many different places. I'm not going to get into other places. But yes, if it's found in the wrong place, that's when you have an infection. That's where there's an issue. But when it's in your gut, it's perfectly fine.
Right.
Yeah.
We're also not eating waste.
Right.
A little different.
Yeah. True.
Absolutely. And you're producing it from, bacteria that you already have in your gut. It's not like you're incorporating other bacteria from an outside source and then, you know what I mean? Like
that would be like how it gets from there into the muscle tissue.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that happen?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they listed a couple of ways that, the same or E. coli does end up in meat. And it's sometimes, like it can even from the processing facility where someone's touching something and they touch something else. And then, just like bacteria travels.
They mentioned a bunch of different ones. They said, well, obviously animals excrete antibiotic resistant bacteria or bacteria in their manure, right? Mm-hmm. And then it can be spread in several different ways.
So the cleanliness of the facilities.
Yeah.
Right.
But it can be spread via air and wind. So I don't know specifically what that means, but yeah, I guess through the air, via the water when any of the waste seeps into any groundwater. And we've talked about, that before.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Filter your water.
How about flies and bugs, which carry bacteria that they pick up from the farm that they visit to wherever else they land? Mm-hmm. Any farm workers or farmers who pick up bacteria on their skin and could spread them when they come in contact with other people.
Right.
Or soil when animal waste is used to fertilize crops. And we've talked about, how they do that with the pig manure as well. Mm-hmm. But they do that, with all different types of manure. So, yeah, many different ways.
Yep.
It's another reason to just wash your vegetables and fruit.
Yep.
You can get a veggie wash or just do old school vinegar.
Yep. Apple cider vinegar works perfect.
Yeah.
Wash your fruit and vegetables because you don't know what's on the surface, and it's touched a lot of different things and been transported most likely a short distance, if not long, if not more, and before you get it, fresh vegetables and fruit.
Yeah. If you are out there and you're subject to, shopping in these grocery stores, because they had all of them. There was Whole Foods in there. There was Harris Teeter. Even the ones that you're like,
Trader
I'm
Joe's,
shopping
Whole
at because
Foods.
I think it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Even their meat was tested and had E. coli and had some of those. A lot less than when they did the no-name brand from like Walmart or ShopRite or something like that. There was a lot more in that.
Yeah. When they specifically, the image that I have on here is talking about the salmonella, but that a lot of them tested negative, but some samples, including Whole Foods, Walmart, Tyson's, Trader Joe's, and Purdue. Mm-hmm. The other one's Insernios. I'm not familiar with that one, but they all tested positive for salmonella. So every brand had some sort of strain.
I always wonder when you go into the grocery store and for whatever reason the meat cases are open air.
Yeah.
And I'm so puzzled by that, right? Like all the other, like the dairy section, for the most part, and all those perishable, need to be refrigerated products. There's a door, right? And it's they keep it cold in there. But the meat products are in a cool case, but it's open air. Like, is that
cool
really
is
a
it
safe
really?
temperature?
Yeah.
Like, are we really keeping that? Like, you don't bring it home and sit on the counter and be like, I guess it's close enough to the fridge.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good point.
It's definitely a good point.
That's a good point.
Because in the actual, they give you a list of what you can do to make sure that your meat is safe. And it says that in the fridge, store raw meat in a bag or a bowl. So, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you're storing it in the fridge. You wouldn't just leave it out, like on the counter and let it just, breathe kind of deal. You got to put it into an area with essentially like a door, like you're saying. Yeah.
I don't mess with the fresh supply chain with that. It's just too much of a gamble to me. That's why it's like, if I know the purveyor, like Creekstone, Murray's, like all these places, like that's getting processed, vacuum sealed, flash frozen, no time for any gaps in the supply chain. It comes to our freezer here at Heartland, and then to your freezer. It's 0 degrees the whole time. Like when you thaw it out, like there's just no risk.
Yeah,
it's almost like the Fiji water of meat.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? Like
that's nice.
It's the first time it's touching the air.
Yeah. Spring water from Artisan.
Yeah,
spring water, wherever they say. I don't know.
That's the thing. Everybody always focusing on the quality or the convenience aspects of the service. Like, how about just this one little thing that we do differently?
Just things that, and I feel like I personally take it for granted.
It's a huge.
That's what I'm saying. It's important, and it, like the safety of your food, and how awesome that we're so confident that we could just take our food out and cook it and not have to worry about these things. Whereas if you're shopping in the food supply chain where you don't have those reassurances, that's scary to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's conditioning though. I mean, most of the population still thinks fresh is better.
That's true.
Oh no, I buy that fresh. Like, no, you gamble with your life.
That's the epidemiology right there. Like they've just been taught. Like,
yeah, it's true. But I mean, again, everyone has their choice who they support with their dollars. But we feel like it's our job to bring up these topics and bring it to light and talk about it and educate people about it so that they're aware that this information's out there and there's alternatives, right? And
but I mean, when you think about it, we have a lot of busy families, and I feel like that's the best part is like, let the doctors, the lawyers, and the families that are doing those things, let them do their job, and then let us do our job, and we can help you guys while you're going and you're being the best that you can kind of be. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people have time to like kind of sit here and like go through the USDA charts and be like,
it's exhausting.
No, you're right.
So much work
and keep up with all the things that are, like that keep happening. Like you talked about all the recalls that have happened, just in the past couple of years. Like,
yeah. That's a full-time job to follow, you know what I mean? Like what's going on and what recalls and what store and where it came
and
from.
Food safety. And we talked before about like the containers that they're storing food in and the plastics and just there's so much. It's overwhelming almost.
Yeah.
So the fact that, this piece of it, with Heartland, with our service, it's adding that, that extra, that cushion that you don't have when you're kind of on your own, right? You're literally going through the grocery stores on your own. You don't know. And then the labels and the things that the packaging says is just marketing. So then you can't even be sure, right? It's like, I feel like it's like a cycle.
Yep. And again,
it's unfortunate.
I just want to, kind of bring this information out. We want to bring this information out so that people can make their own decision. What like in a, utopian world, what would you do? Like if you had both there, like would you go with a system that Justin spoke about from farm all the way to freezer, or would you go with that supply chain that has so many different kinds of things that could go wrong?
Mark, right?
It's like you make the decision.
Yeah,
I know what decision I would make.
Absolutely.
But now you have information. Now you can make the decision yourself to be like, okay, I want this for my family, or I don't want this for my family. Like, it's your decision.
Right.
That's the great thing about living in a free world. Like, you have the decision and the opportunity to do whatever you want. Not everything you want, but you know what I mean?
Most things.
Yeah, you can make a choice.
Absolutely.
But yeah, they also say at the grocery store, keep raw meats in a disposable bag separated from other foods.
Yep.
In the fridge, store raw meat in a bag or a bowl.
Thaw them in the refrigerator.
Yep. Don't rely on how the meat looks or smells.
Keep your burger chilled until you throw it on the grill. A lot of times, like I thought you had to bring steaks up to room temperature before you cook them.
You do.
Is burgers not like that?
Well, I think what they're saying is because it was ground and oxygen was present, if you let that come to room temperature, you're giving bacteria
an opportunity
to grow.
Sure, yeah.
You do the same thing with the red meat too, like the steaks, except
you're gonna sear
it's
it.
not going to permeate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So whatever's on the outside,
That
you're
makes
gonna
sense.
kill it.
That makes a lot of sense. So that's a good tip then.
Yep. Don't rinse raw meat.
Yeah, you're more likely to spread any bacteria from that around your kitchen sink or counter. And
I've noticed a lot of people wash their meat.
I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I didn't know that was a thing.
People
I've seen
ask
that.
me that all the time. They're like, "You gonna wash that meat?"
especially
And I'm like,
chicken.
what are you talking about? I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah,
Neither did
I'm
I.
just hearing about it right now.
No, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a lot on like YouTube and stuff. I've seen a lot of people, especially like doing recipes. Like that's the first thing they'll do, and I'm just like, I never do that step.
Oh,
I mean, it makes sense though. You're buying it from a nasty supply chain. Like I'd probably wash it too. I'd probably pressure cook it first,
mean,
right?
Yes.
You know,
I thought you were gonna say
about it.
pressure wash it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's interesting what the things people do to be clean or keep themselves safe.
Yep.
These are improvising things that if you weren't ingrained in this and knew the science and the supply chain,
right.
maybe I'd wash my meat too.
Right. No, yeah, hands down.
How about just buy better meat? Okay,
There you go.
buy better meat.
That works. That works.
When preparing the meat, make sure you wash your hands, wash the areas that are.
And also use a dedicated cutting board. So have one that's for like fruits and vegetables and have one that's like for meat. That way it's just less risk for any kind of contamination, whether you're washing it or not.
And it didn't mention in here, but I've heard, there's a difference in using like a plastic cutting board or like a wooden cutting board or something like that because it can get trapped in.
Yeah. I mean, plastic bacteria can trap bacteria. Plastic also we talk about all the time, like it can leach, it can, that kind of thing. So if you can, use like a wooden cutting board, right? Bamboo's really popular.
Yeah.
But I know you have to like
Wood's a problem too though, right?
Yeah, because I think it can absorb. And
Yeah.
it'll soak
get,
up like liquids that could have bacteria or things in it. So,
Mm.
and I know like how you have to season like cast iron. Like you're supposed to season like your cutting boards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't do it.
Yeah, like castor or whatever.
Yeah, with some sort of like oil to like seal it, right? So
Oh,
that
yeah.
what we're talking about, so
thought you
things
meant,
can't like permeate it.
Yeah, I thought like in the actual.
Not in the oven or anything.
Well, yeah, that's when you said cast iron, I was already like with the oil and
Yeah.
the seasonings.
I
like
think that's what it's called, castor oil.
Yeah,
maybe?
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then it's to seal it so that things can't like permeate it. So that's a really good question. Maybe I could do some research into what would be some good alternatives.
Which cutting board will kill you less?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Which one's the least toxic? And we recently talked about cookware too, and how how you can be less toxic in that aspect as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
you can get a meat thermometer.
Yep. can help you gauge whether things are cooked. I mean, again, people are gonna have their preferences. If you like medium rare, you like medium rare. Again,
I mean, I'm not shopping in the supply chain that they're talking about, so I was like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I never cook anything to temperature.
Yeah.
None of the Heartland products.
Yeah.
Like even the chicken, it's not even close to the temp.
Yeah.
It's so much better. It's so juicy.
It is.
It's not like visibly like pink, but it's like that opaque color where it's not like you don't look at it and like, okay, it's killed.
Yeah.
And it tastes so good.
It is.
I've never been sick from it. I
so
enjoy it.
Good.
Yeah.
And the burgers too. I'm a medium person, but I'll eat the steaks like medium rare. I'll have a burger.
When we were doing the carnivore, I was having it almost.
Oh, you're having it like.
It was like almost blue.
Yeah.
It was good too. I enjoyed it.
Blue burgers?
Yeah. Like a ribeye.
Steaks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like ribeyes.
It was good.
And the beefalo ribeyes.
And I mean, we can talk about this all day, but the tenderness of it, that was my other aspect. You know what I mean? Like the aspect of it was like, you could eat meat from a lot of different places and they cook them all kinds of different ways. But when you're chewing on it and that experience that you get from actually eating it, like the flavor and that tenderness, it was just like, oh, yeah.
So good.
So far.
You were having a steak like every night for like a week.
I could do it again.
Oh my goodness. All right, the last one. Refrigerate your leftovers promptly. So don't leave any food that's left over out on the counter for 2 hours or more after it's removed from the stove, oven, or grill. So 1 hour limit if you're outside and the temperature is 90 degrees or higher. So that would be right now. That would be in the summertime.
I'm
bad. I leave it out.
Like 10, 15 minutes. And that's just because we're getting set up. Like, get the meat ready, get the grill ready. And then, it's going on there. Like, I don't know why you would leave it out for an hour.
Oh, they're talking about after you cook it.
That's cooked food,
after
right?
you
cook.
cook.
After you cook it. So like once you cook it, say you have leftovers, like you just leave it on the counter for a little while, I'll put it away later. They're saying like you need to put it away within an hour if it's like warm weather outside, and if it's inside, that 2 hours is like the max. Like you got to put it away before that. Because it could potentially
2 hours. I'll like cook it, have one meal, and then pack the rest up. That's like,
yeah. Why is it like that?
Let's let it sit there. Let's stare at the cooked food for a while before we put it in the fridge.
Exactly.
Let it marinate.
I don't know why that's on there, but good tip.
It's good to know that you could even go 2 hours. It just seems so long.
Yeah.
But then again, everybody gets pizza sent to the pool and it just sits there all day.
Right. Are you thinking about when you go to like a potluck or like, you go to like someone's house and like you're eating appetizers and things at like 4 and it's like at 9 p.m. when you leave, like the food's still sitting out. It's been there 5 hours. Yeah. Like, so it's just weird to think about it, in a different sense, like cooking the food. And like you said, I'm just going to leave it on the counter for 2 hours and then I'll put it away.
Yeah.
Or you have an Instapot.
I feel like you'd forget.
Leave it in the Instapot.
I'd need an app to tell me, hey, make sure you go put your food back in the fridge. Like if not, it's like, oh, what? 6 a.m. the next morning. Oh, I left it out. Dang it. Gotta throw it away.
Yeah.
I've done that. It's the worst.
That sucks.
That's why if you're there, might as well just put it away.
Yep.
Because if not, you may forget, get caught up in something.
Absolutely.
But yeah, those are some things you can do to, try to make your way through that sort of supply chain or
reduce your risk, I guess.
Shameless plug. Check us out. Heartland Foods.
There you go. And I think that kind of wraps up with the topic for today. We touched a little bit on both, salmonella and E. coli, but just in general, risks related to ground meats and how you can kind of, reduce your risk, or, how shopping with us is different than what you're kind of encountering as a person wandering through the conventional supply chain, unfortunately. But, we're here to help. Yep. So
do you think that salmonella got its name because the first case was in salmon?
Was that true? Is that really true? Then probably absolutely 100% that's how they got it.
It was just a joke question.
Oh.
No, I think it came from there. Wasn't there a scientist that found it? I thought their name was.
Oh, was his last name?
I thought it was. I could be lying. I could have made that
I
up.
always wondered too.
Wikipedia.
Depending on where you're from, some people call it salmon, some people call it salmon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Salmonella.
Yeah.
Did it come from salmon first?
Salmonella.
Let us know in the comments. What do you think? Where did it come from? Well, and if you know, don't ruin it for everyone. This is just fun. You're like, no, actually, I just went to the Googles and I know the real answer. It did not come, but it could have come from salmonella. When I was growing up, I have a relationship with that word because my name is Simon. Mm-hmm. So some people called me Salmon, and then they'd be like, "Oh, salmonella." I was like, "Okay, whatever."
It would be the equivalent of E. coli being called like cow coli.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have to.
I got a dad joke before we go.
Oh no.
Okay.
Don't do it.
What did the dinner plate say to the other dinner plate?
Oh, I don't know.
Jen, you don't know? Dinner's on me.
Oh my God, you're hilarious.
Plated.
So funny.
Dad joke, sorry.
All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps up for today. I think we'll be back again next week. And Justin, if there's anything else you'd like to say, you can go ahead and wrap us up.
I think we got it. We'll see you next week, everybody. And as always, stay healthy with Heartland.